Greetings, citizens of the world, we are anonymous. The truth on George Soros. While about 500,000 of his fellow countrymen, women and children, almost all of them Hungarian Jews, were being exterminated by Nazi Germany, Soros, a Jew himself, called it the happiest time of my life. Soros collaborated with the Nazis, rounding up the Jews to send to the extermination camps, and confiscating their property and belongings, and said he had no sense of guilt about what he did, and found it exhilarating, and liked the feeling of absolute power. While some might try to excuse what Soros did by saying, well, he was only 14 at the time, keep in mind that there were thousands of teenagers who were actively fighting the Nazis through resistance movements in all of the Nazi-occupied countries in Europe. Who is George Soros? George Soros is an evil man. He's anti-God, anti-family, anti-American, and anti-good. Soros is a multi-billionaire atheist, with skewed moral values, and a sociopath's lack of conscience. He considers himself to be an elitist world-class philosopher, despises the American way, and just loves to do social engineering and change cultures. By George Soros' own admission, he helped engineer coups in Slovakia, Croatia, Georgia, and Yugoslavia. When Soros targets a country for regime change, he begins by creating a shadow government, a fully formed government in exile, ready to assume power when the opportunity arises. The shadow party he has built in America greatly resembles those he has created in other countries prior to instigating a coup. Georgi Schwartz, better known to the world as George Soros, was born August 12, 1930 in Hungary. Soros's father, David was a fervent practitioner of the Esperanto language, invented in 1887, and designed to be the first global language, free of any national identity. The Schwartzes, who were non-practicing Jews, changed the family name to Soros, in order to facilitate assimilation into the Gentile population, as the Nazis spread into Hungary during the 1930s. When Hitler's henchman Adolf Eichmann arrived in Hungary, to oversee the murder of that country's Jews, George Soros ended up with a man whose job was confiscating property from the Jewish population. 70% of George Soros's fellow Jews in Hungary, nearly 500,000 human beings, were annihilated in that year. George Soros is a planetary parasite. His grasp, greed, and gluttony have a global reach. A blog you might want to keep an eye on is soroswatch.com. Their mission is dedicated to all who have suffered due to the ruthless financial pursuits of George Soros. George Soros has been actively working to destroy America from the inside out for many years now. People have been warning us. 2 years ago, news sources reported that Soros is an extremist who wants open borders, a one-world foreign policy, legalized drugs, euthanasia, and a socialist one-world government. This is off-the-chart dangerous. In 1997, Rachel Ehrenfeld wrote, Soros uses his philanthropy to change or more accurately deconstruct the moral values and attitudes of the Western world, and particularly of the American people. His open society is not about freedom, it is about control. His vision rejects the notion of ordered liberty, in favor of a progressive ideology of rights and entitlements. In late 2006, Soros bought about 2 million shares of Halliburton, Dick Cheney's old stomping grounds. When the Democrats and Republicans held their conventions in 2000, Soros donated $5 billion to the Democratic National Committee. Soros has dirtied both sides of the aisle. George Soros' involvement with the mainstream media, and the entertainment industry. George owns 2.6 million shares of Time Warner. George Soros controls or influences most of the mainstream media. Little wonder they ignore the Tea Party, George Soros' nemesis. Without Soros money, would the Saul Alinsky's Chicago machine still be rolling? Would CU, Acorn, and La Raza still be pursuing their nefarious activities? Would big money and lobbyists still be corrupting government? Would our college campuses still be retirement homes for 1960s radicals? America stands at the brink of an abyss, and that fact is directly attributable to George Soros. George Soros has vigorously, cleverly, and insidiously planned the ruin of America, and his puppets, Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton, are leading the way. This is an open message to you, George Soros. Remember your shady deals that helped arm ISIS. Remember your shady deals that caused the riots in Ferguson and Boston. And your shady deals that have caused riots at Trump rallies. Because we remember it all. As we do not forget and we do not forgive. You may have the public tricked, but we will expose everything. The trenches are about to catch up with you. You thought you could hide from your past, but you were wrong. We see through the tricks, the lies, and the games. We see through your psychological tactics, and we see your desire for power regardless of the consequences. We will keep spreading the truth about you. We will be at every door you open. No longer will we allow you to spread your evil here in America. Your time to end is now. We are anonymous. We do not forget. We do not forgive. It is too late to expect us.